guys, welcome back to another YouTube video here today. And today we are coming at you with a brand new one-shot Amon build. Now we finally made a Amon build with the spread launcher. I just really don't like Amon, but I wanted to try it and see if we can get one out there that was possible. I wasn't sure if you could one-shot with Amon on True UVH6 even with spread launcher. I was very much questioning it, but it definitely is a thing. So what we are using is 2 airstrikes, so we get extra splash radius, splash damage, which is really good. 2 high calibers, projectile speed, and gun damage, which is super good. Then we're using God Killer. You get damage dealt to badass enemies, so this is super duper good. And then for mobbing, we're also using Shalaska for mobbing, super duper good. You need a shotgun mode and torque impact. Super recommend it, super need. Get yourself a throbbing linebacker for the crystals or night enemies, anything like that. Um, Bloom's crystals or night enemies, any of that. You're gonna take this gun, aim, and just fucking shoot, and you're gonna destroy those crystals within seconds, 5 seconds at least. I've been able to destroy Bloom's crystals within like 5 seconds in this build with the linebacker. So, and then we're using the scoot and shoot. For mobbing, you could also use the kinetic version. We're using a fire version currently. This one has Jacobs and Ripper and Torg. We're using the impact mode. Now, you did see in the video where I did go down during the mobbing section where we did use the sticky mode on the boss because I didn't have my double amp. That does also work. That is a option. You can use the shoot and scoot for certain bosses. That will work. Um, but it's not like a completely reliable thing on this build. The most reliable thing on this build is the 82K spread launcher, and this is what you're going to want to get. You're going to want to get yourself a Dualian 82K spread launcher. This is super duper good. And then you're going to want a triple bypass with amp. This is super duper good. And then you're going to want a crit knife. You're going to want to hit crits guaranteed. This gives you a bunch of extra damage and super duper good. And then we're using a consistent pounder head ring. Your gun torque lasts parts, gain 4% damage, 100% damage radius. This is for the linebacker if you wanted more damage out of your spell launcher or any of these Jacobs weapons. You could be using like a Jacobs enhancement. We're using triple amp watch for dinner, so you get 150% gun damage on your first shot. This is super duper good for the spread launcher. And then we're using the Brawler class mod. This class mod puts 5 points into Battleborn, 2 points into Bloodlust. 2 points in Bloodlust does not matter too much. What you really want to hear is 5 into Battleborn and whatever else you can get on the enhancement. This is class mod. This is what happened. We happen to get, which is gun damage, splash damage, and kinetic damage. The one we've happened to found, it happened to have airstrike. I found this class mod a while ago though. I just been putting it off on using it. And then we put 5 points into Battleborn. So when you're at full health, you get up to 80% gun damage increase. So this is just super duper nice. And then we're using 5 in Eternal. So you get axe skill rotation and gun slot speed. So this is super duper nice. 5 into Ancient Ways. So you get more cryo damage. 5 in the Thunderous Rage. So we get further down the tree. And this is also not bad for mobbing because this is critical hit damage. And then we're using 5 technician. So when you're aiming, you get 25% gun damage. And then we're using the raft wall. Firewall is not raft wall. And then this is a raft wall always critical hits, but it doesn't seem like it actually critical hits at the moment. So we have to throw the crit knife. And we're using the psychic thrum. This where we're using this is for while Amon's movement speed is reduced, but Amon gains bonus cryo damage with guns and consumes vengeance on each shot. So this is super duper nice. With your spread launcher, gives you some cryo damage on your first shot while you're aiming. This is why we went into cryo damage on the tree, because this gives you just bonus cryo damage. So this is just a super duper nice. Put 5 into Executioner. So you get 20% more critical hit damage. Now you could use the Slippy theoretically, but I wouldn't recommend it on this build because you could theoretically double your critical hit damage. but like I said earlier, it doesn't seem to actually guarantee your critical hits. So this is what we decided to do. And then we put 5 in the reload. So bolt action, if we just get down the tree, whenever Amon reloads his gun, you get bonus shock damage for duration, bonus shock damage 30%. 5 in the Herald's Call, so you gave Amon gains increased shock damage, so this is really nice. And then Raging Inferno, we put 5 in here, so we get down the tree. Plus, it helps with that burn damage dealt, so this is really nice. And then we put 4 into Freezer Burn, so dealing innocent damage with guns increases crowd damage for rotation. Dealing crowd damage with guns increases incendiary damage for rotation. So when we're aiming, we're doing crowd damage. So we're getting bonus fire damage on our crowd damage when we're aiming. So this is really nice. And then we're using Blast Furnace whenever Amon and his foe doing critical aiming cause a destination. He gets increased damage dealt for rotation. So this gives you 3.5, 25% chance of damage dealt. And then here you're using Lightning Rod. This is also why you want to throw the crit knife, because this can help a lot. Amon's gunshot type of chance on a critical hit to spawn an elemental bolt, dealing shock damage. Elemental bolt damage is 200% of damage dealt. So if you're hitting a crit and you have a chance of that lightning bolt spawning on them, now, like I said, it's not guaranteed. Like, we didn't get it there. We didn't get the lightning bolt there. But alright, for specialization, we're using the best defense, so you get damage dealt when shields are full, and then we're using in the zone, so you get gun damage per stack when you're aiming, so this is super duper nice. You get more gun damage, more critical damage, and then we're using now caffeine to get easy action skill back, and then we are using bullet train, so the Vault Hunter can now hit fire and while sprinting, and the gun damage, we gain gun damage the faster they move. So this gives you a 50% gun damage as a base when you're walking. I'm not sure what it does beyond that, because it definitely does more than beyond that, because it says faster they move. Walking, so like this will give you the extra 50% gun damage if you're moving around with your spell launcher. This is just super duper nice. Amon needs that extra 50% gun damage, so this is super duper good. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.